Hello everyone, welcome you again in the landscaping course. The today's lecture topic is the landscaping in colonies. The colonial style of architecture brings to mind stately, symmetrical homes with white columns anchoring the entry, clipped boxwood hedges, topiary, and stone are the traditional elements in colonial landscape design and set an impressive scene in large estates. These are the elements of colonial landscape design. So, the original colonial gardens would have included plants that were native to America as well as those that had been brought over from England. Some popular ornamental options for these gardens include boxwood, hydrangea, daylily, rose, iris, hollyhock, and danthus. Herb gardens are a particularly popular element for this type of landscape design, and they often feature options like lavender, anise, borage, chamomile, calendula, dill, chives, mint, wormwood, and rosemary. So, next element is the fencing. Fencing are critical element for creating these gardens because colonial law demanded that fences measuring at least 4.5 feet high were installed around each property. While public buildings were usually enclosed by brick walls, private properties typically featured picket, rail, or post fences. The most popular fencing are picket fence. The picket fence is timeless, classic, while fences traditionally had a functional appeal back in the day. Today, they serve a more aesthetic function. Picket fences are a great way to add some charm and curve appeal while maintaining your overall feel. The next one is the rail fencing. The rail fence is an interesting look and may not fit your colonial style unless you are in a more rural areas. While this style looks great with the right home and landscape, it can be out of place in a more urban environment. The another element is the hardscaping, which means all non-living parts, that is walkways. There are a ton of hardscaping additions that are accessible to this style. Walkways plays an important role. Factors we will have to consider before starting a walkway are entry points, length of the walkway, the layout of an existing landscape, as well as this topography of your ward. Then another element is the patios, that having a great place to gather or grill out is a welcome addition to any home. Staying in line with colonial scene, utilizing stone or brick style patio materials is your best bet. Beautiful outdoor living space is a perfect way to separate your landscaping efforts from the rest. Then we have the retaining walls, that is the another elements of the colonial landscape design. Here the stone or brick retaining walls are both cornerstones of colonial style homes. These walls provide both beauty and functions, as certain materials can add to your colonial appeal. Retaining walls also provide a perfect spot for a garden and plantings, which we will get to in the next segment. These are great for elevating ornamental and herbal plants, or even a brick or stone patios to be installed. And the next element is the decor. Just have a look that some popular decorative elements to include in your colonial garden includes the arbor, stone walls, sundials and fountains. Also considers planting a large tree or two, which were commonplace in colonial neighborhoods. The most popular decor that includes are: one is the arbors. They are the great way to define a space and add some shade. These offer a place to gather or simply highlight with beautiful covering. And the next one is the fountains, that provide a tranquil and peaceful addition to a colonial style home. There are so many different ways to utilize water features, and determining which fits your home best may take a professional opinion. The last element is the design. Colonial gardens were frequently designed with function and ease of use in mind. For this reason, they were usually divided into 4 quadrants with path running between them. Also bear in mind that these gardens were typically made symmetrical to match at the home. However, you can make your garden design more welcoming by using flowing walkways that gently carve rather than perfect squares and rectangles. Finally, colors and architectural elements should be repeated throughout your landscape design to give it a cohesive appearance. Here, the land is subdivided into smaller areas known as lots with provision for easy access by streets and installation of public utilities such as sewers, water, gas, electricity, and other conveniences. These are improved by providing streets and sidewalk sanitation, installation of public utilities such as water, electricity, gas, telephone, street lighting, signs, etc., and the planting of wayside and other trees, development of public areas such as playground and parks. While laying out such residential area, the type of beauty and attractiveness to be produced is the one of the important decision to be made. If there exists considerable natural beauty by way of rolling topography and trees, they should be preserved by using winding streets and large plots of sufficient size to build the houses without spoiling the natural contours by grading. Streams, lakes, ponds, if they exist naturally, should also be preserved as they will increase the value of property. Planners should try to provide a better environment and sufficient open places for the residents. Street may be laid out to follow the natural slope of the ground and thus fit in with the natural landscape, which will involve the least amount of grading. If the area is located at considerable distance from a town or city, provision must be made for location of various public buildings such as schools, colleges, temples, churches, a small community center, etc. Planting of trees in the streets, laying out of parks, playgrounds, and establishing green belts will enhance the environmental quality of the area. Do use flowering curves throughout the landscape. A straight pathway from the street to the front door can look a little stern next to the strong lines of a colonial home. A gently curving front walkway softens the architecture and makes the entry feel more welcoming. So, do repeat colors and other elements of the architecture in the landscape. A white picket fence, white posts or finials and bricks columns are all possibilities for bringing the architecture into the garden. Do emphasize the front door, then move the eye across the property with broad swaths of spirea, hydrangeas, daylilies, and other perennials and shrubs. Do consider leaving your boxwood unclipped. A carving boxwood hedge can give a nod to traditional design without feeling stiff and formal, and leaving it unclipped gives a loose, natural appearance which contrasts well with the architecture. So, what don't? That don't be afraid to choose a big tree. In historical colonial neighborhoods, the mature trees set the scene. The height and column on colonial buildings deserve a suitably majestic tree. Don't use pavers or concrete, since stone is a traditional element in colonial landscape design. Stamped concrete or pavers can look out of the place. If you use them, be sure to choose carefully so they look like real stone. Don't be too wedded to the theme unless you live in colonial Williamsburg. There is no need to try so hard. Mechanic says, let your architecture and few well-chosen elements speak for themselves. And most importantly, don't lose your personality in your landscape design. Be quirky with careful thought. Any element can be used appropriately within the theme. The best gardens reflect the characters of the people who live there. Thank you all. Hope you have learned the importance of landscaping in colonies.